It's Friday night, how I'm longing for
just a bunch of questions because I actually study PHP, and so I'm studying through your course right now.
Awesome.
And so yeah, you're probably gonna be on my vlog a lot. All right, guys, what's up, everyone? What's up, vlog? I'm here right now here in Portland, Oregon, and I'm actually in one of the conference rooms here with. Is it Alena or Elena?
Alena.
Okay, Alena. And Alena is the PHP instructor here at teamtreehouse.com. And as you guys know, I talk about studying PHP and how PHP is very important to learn, and especially in California, you have to know PHP to get a job nowadays, even as a front-end developer. And now the person that I've learned all the PHP I know, other than from my senior developer, is Alena here at teamtreehouse.com. At Treehouse or Team Treehouse? So
it's Team Treehouse. We just say Team Treehouse, but if you're gonna say it's teamtreehouse.com, or we just call it Treehouse.
I'm so used to saying Team Treehouse. Okay,
that's fine.
Here at Treehouse, it is Alena. Alena, a question I have is, well, how long have you been working here at Treehouse?
I've worked at Treehouse for just over 2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
Yeah, just over 2 years. I really enjoy it. I was super excited. I've been doing PHP for 17 plus years. I'm just gonna stick with 17 plus, and it's never gonna go up.
So 17 plus.
17 plus years. That's what I've been using for the last couple years.
So 10 years from now, I'll still be.
It's 10 years from now, it'll still be 17 plus years. I've been doing it for 17, but PHP just had its 20th birthday.
Wow.
So. Well, depending on what you consider, Rasmus started in '94. PHP started in '94, and then went on from there. But.
So you know these dates, you know them by the date, like when. Wow. Okay. Well, actually, I have one question then. Like, as you know, in the programming industry, it's very male dominant. As from what I see online and from what people talk about, and so what I try to do on my channel, and actually other YouTubers try to do, is they try to encourage more females, more women to get into the industry with code. And so, like, how has it been? Like, I guess from your perspective, is it harder? Do you feel it's harder, or do you feel like you're very skilled at what you do?
Well, it depends on what you're going with. Now, a lot of it, I started out I did a lot in a small town like Havasu. Okay. So I knew a lot of it is word of mouth. So I got there, did a lot of freelance stuff myself. So once you have stuff to show, people are like, oh, you can do this? Cool. And I didn't. It wasn't that much competition, as in, okay, I had a lot of people that would bring me something and they're like, can you fix this? I'm like, yes, I can fix that. Whew. So, so that's kind of how I really got started with it, was a lot more freelance stuff there. So it's a great way to start, especially as a female, I guess, in that regards, is I didn't have to worry about some of the corporate issues that other females have had.
Yeah. Wow.
So, so that's kind of a benefit to that, is that you, one of the reasons I wanted to get into programming, and I enjoyed going that route in the digital route, was the idea that I knew I wanted to have a family, but I also wanted to be able to continue to do something. Yeah. And so that programming gave me that opportunity to do that. So I have 3 children now. My oldest is 6.5. It's been fun. Being able to continue my career and still have my children and still spend time with them. So when we moved to Portland about 3.5 years ago now, I was freelancing, and so after maybe a year or so here, I decided, well, we're in Portland now, this is a really big tech industry, I ought to be able to find some company that would be really fun to work for.
Yes.
So, but I also, again, I had my kids already. I wanted to be able to spend time with my kids. Yes. But I also wanted to be able to get out of the house and go spend time with other adults and, enjoy that time together. I was already going to meetups and stuff, which is great in Portland. There is some tech event going on every day of the week.
So Portland's like, for example, is like the Silicon Valley for this area. Like Portland in Oregon, like Portland's the place you want to go to get a job in the industry.
It is a really good place for that, and the support group is really great. Like the support network, I would say Portland has one of the best females in tech areas there are. There are tons of different.
You're not saying that just because you're here.
No, okay. Because there are. I mean, we had at the joint Christmas party that we had for the Women Who Code and Women in Tech kind of get together and have. Usually twice a year, and have 2 big parties to get everybody together. Or I know we usually have over 200 women at these events. Wow. So there's a very large network of females in the tech industry here
Wow,
who are
awesome.
involved and
Yeah.
ready to support you. So that's really great too.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, and then like I said, about just over 2 years ago now, I, in my job search, found Treehouse, and I'm like, yes, that's where I want to work. Yes, I do. Look, they have an opening, just what I want to teach PHP. Awesome.
And it was exactly like you fit exactly what they were looking for too, huh?
They made this job for you, didn't they? I'm like, yes, yes they did. Like, this is exactly, like, I'm really excited. It's a great place to work.
Yeah.
The people are awesome.
I bet. I mean, I went to lunch with everyone just like an hour or two ago, and everyone was really nice and chill and fun to hang out with. And,
Oh yeah, the people here are amazing. That's one of the best. Yeah.
And it seems like everyone gets along.
For the most part, I would agree with that. Yeah, everybody's just, people are really awesome here, so it's hard to not get along with people.
No, definitely. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I've been here the whole day. I guess the other question is, so you're the PHP instructor here at Treehouse. There's no other one, just you, right?
Just me right now.
Just you right now. Then I guess even for someone like me, I'm learning through your PHP course, which is kind of cool. You have the exact same personality here as in the video, which is really, really cool. Then for someone else, because what I recommend to everyone else is to go into PHP because there's so much demand in it. And not even just PHP 7, a lot of people still use legacy code as well. And so for people who are going to sign up for Treehouse, or for people who are signed up at Treehouse but haven't done the PHP track yet, is there any recommendation that you have for them to, like, how can they best learn through your courses?
Well, we have the tracks, and a lot of people don't know that we have tracks. They just they just see our courses.
PHP, yeah.
Well, so we have our tracks that will step you through kind of where you should be going, and I've tried to structure those tracks to take you through the progression. Now, some people don't want to, like, I've started you in pre-PHP 7. Most things nowadays, if you were starting a modern app, it would be mostly object-oriented, almost all object-oriented in a modern-day app. But there's, like you said, there's still a lot of PHP out there that is pre-PHP 7, even pre-PHP 5.6, that had, which is what the standard is right now, at least 5.6 for security updates. And so it's nice to understand how that works, plus it's an easy progression. So we step through like the intro to PHP track, steps you through in just very basics of what programming is and the programming variables and procedural code, and then we take you through intermediate into databases and things like that. And then I have a track for object-oriented PHP, which I'm super excited about because that was one of the things really for me. Yeah. Like I said, pre-PHP 5.6 was not really object-oriented. So I learned PHP a long time ago, no object-oriented. So when I went to try to learn object-oriented programming, it was so difficult for me because there was so much terminology that I just didn't understand. So you could Google it, but then the answers would have all this words that I had no idea what they meant. Yeah, definitely. So it was like, oh, that answer just causes more questions. So it took me a long time of trying to figure it out before I felt like I understood. And it was this huge time in the PHP community where, oh, we have object-oriented, now we can really share code. Because that's what object-oriented allows you to do, is like group it into small chunks. So now this small chunk can be used by other people. With procedural, you've got it, it's all kind of smushed. You need the whole thing. Well, with object-oriented, you can take this object out of it and you can use it now. So that's awesome. So now we can share code. So all of this now, sharing of ideas is great, but it's this new way of thinking. So not only was it this object-oriented thing for me, it was this whole new way of doing code. And so there was so much, and I'm like, So when I finally got it, I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. So that's been one of my things, has been really excited about getting an easy to understand and hopefully quicker to follow through and get up to speed on what object-oriented is, and to take away some of that confusing terminology and solidify it into something that you can understand. So I was super excited to get that track out.
I'm excited to see that. That's actually something we do at work often. It's very important. Wow, I didn't even know you guys were working on that track, so that's exciting to see.
Yeah, that was fairly recently just launched that that track. I finished the third part to that series, so it's the track is fairly new. Wow. That third part to that series came out where I have a very good basis, I feel at least, a good basis for object-oriented PHP. So
exciting.
The first 3 courses there will give you a good basics
Wow.
in that track.
That's exciting. Well, I guess one question I'll also ask, I guess I'll ask it now, in regards to PHP. A lot of people, I don't know why, because I do watch a lot of other YouTubers in regards to code, they just pop up on YouTube, and a lot of people are saying in 2018 PHP will die. And I don't know why people say that.
They've been saying PHP will die or is dead or is dying for probably 15 years out of the 20 years. It's been a long time. It's still not dead. It's still huge.
Facebook still uses it.
Well, they have their own.
Yeah, they use React now.
Well, yeah, and they kind of took PHP and did their own thing, which has been good for the PHP community because they have HHVM. It's their kind of PHP 7 version.
Yeah.
So pretty much they forked off of PHP 5.6, and now they have had their version, and now there's PHP 7. And so it's actually been a fairly good thing because Facebooks can use ideas from PHP 7, PHP 7 can use ideas from Facebook, and they can kind of build with each other. They're not exactly the same or in parallel, but you get some of the same build off and ideas and way to do it because they split off from the same thing, and it's got the base is the same.
Yeah.
So there's Facebook, there's WordPress, which still takes up a huge amount of the web, which they have an API now that you can do stuff in JavaScript now too.
Yeah. That's
so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
But you still have a lot of PHP out there. So I would, if PHP dies in 2018, I will be shocked beyond belief. I just can't even imagine it happening. I don't know what would possibly happen to all those. At a bare minimum, 25% of the web is running on PHP, so what's going to happen to that?
Yes. I mean, I agree.
At a bare minimum. And, anywhere between 25 and 85% of the web is running on PHP. So, depending on what you go with, I doubt it's going to die. Yeah. Yes. I don't think it's set for an early grave.
Yes.
There's always been complaints. And
I mean, I think that's with every language, though.
Yeah. And one of the biggest complaints with PHP, and one of the things you need to watch out for, is poorly written stuff. You can write bad code in anything.
Yes.
But PHP has been around for a long time. And it's a very beginner-friendly language.
It is.
So there's a lot of beginners who have written code. And as you become grow as a programmer, basically the code you wrote 6 months ago is not good code. No matter who you are, you're like, that was so 6 months ago. It was like, that. So there's a lot of that in PHP. So it can be confusing, and it can be really easy to get the wrong idea by going, is this the way to do it? No, you could do it that way. Probably not the best way to handle it.
Definitely.
Though. So that's, I guess that would be what I would encourage you to be careful of, is just, can you do it that way? Yes. Is it the best way to do it? Probably not. So just pay attention to what people are saying, and pay attention to dates as well. Like, how long ago was that written? Is that 10 years ago? Okay. JavaScript has changed a lot in 10 years. JavaScript probably has a lot of the same issues.
Yes, I'm not going to lie. I've used code that I saw where the answer on Stack Overflow, the answer was written in 2008. And
it would probably still do.
It did what it was supposed to do.
But
then my senior developer looks at it and he's like, Chris, what's going on?
Yeah. You copied and pasted from Stack Overflow, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I still do that with some code, and I think it's because it's just a learning process. Well, I guess another question for you is what makes your PHP courses different from, like, for example, there are other, I'm not going to say the name, but other competitors out there. Because I've learned from other competitors, and there have been boot camps who have sponsored me to learn at the boot camps, and I've learned it for a month, and I got bored of it. And I just enjoyed it, and I just came back to Treehouse to the point I was just waiting for Treehouse to contact me, and finally you guys did, fortunately. So what makes your courses specifically, your PHP course is different from others? What I can say is that how I see you as a very bright person on the videos on Treehouse, and you're just that bright here. And even not just that, guys, believe it or not, we were talking in the kitchen, and you were just as bright there too. And the camera wasn't on. Actually, wait, it was on, but she didn't know it was on. She didn't know it was on. You probably saw it already. And so, what makes your courses specifically different?
I'm sure there are a lot of other good courses out there.
Good answer.
So
good answer.
I really haven't watched them all. I've learned from other courses online too. I was self-taught. I learned a lot of things from courses online. Some of the things we do here to make our courses as good as they can be are a couple of things. One, first off, we have full-time teachers. Like I am a full-time teacher here. So I work on PHP, and we have other teachers that we work with. And it's nice to, programming, just because you learn PHP or you learn JavaScript or you learn Python or anything else, a lot of the basics of programming are all the same. So I work with a lot of the other teachers as we're bringing concepts. We can share ideas and, okay, where have other students had issues with this concept and how can we do it? We have reports that help show us where people are struggling, and we try to go back and fix things, or when we refresh stuff, try to explain things better where people have had problems.
Yes.
We try to figure out the science of how people learn. We have our we just started a new series on how to learn this past year that talks about that gives you brief insights into how your brain actually works, which I find fascinating. I love how your brain works.
Yes.
And just different ideas for getting the most out of your study. So I just did one of these videos on focus and how you can focus and how focus can help you, and working on something for a little while and then letting it go. As a programmer, if you've ever done that, like I can't figure it out, and you leave and go to sleep, and you wake up the next morning like, oh,
yes,
well, duh.
Yes.
And that's totally what it is, because that's how your brain works. When you take a break, when your brain relaxes.
So it's okay when you can't solve it at that time.
Oh yeah.
Like you feel that still?
Oh, everybody does. Yeah, that's a very.
So it's not just me.
No. Okay, that's a very common thing with programming. Your brain gets overwhelmed in trying to figure something out. But if you can let your brain rest and connect the dots, that's essentially what it does when your brain is resting. Essentially, it's not really resting; it's doing other things, and that's that cleanup to make connections. Okay, so. This is one of my favorite stories about how your brain works. I do some talks about exploiting the brain for fun and profit, because I love the way the brain works. So there was this study that psychologists did with rats. You know how they like to study rats?
Yes, they do.
So they run a rat through the maze, and then they try it again like the next day and see what they remember and stuff. Well, somebody accidentally left a monitor on one of the heads of the rats while they were sleeping. And they noticed that their brain waves lined up while they were sleeping to what they lined up with while they were running the course. So they thought, oh, this is interesting. So the next day, they ran them through a new maze and left the hat on while they were sleeping. And as soon as their brain waves, as they fell asleep and their brain waves started to match up, they woke the rat up. Whoa. So they didn't let them sleep when their brain started to go into that mode. Whoa. So they woke them up. The next day, the rat had no idea how to run the maze, because it had never been stored in their memory. So when you sleep, your brain kind of fits it into your memory.
Crazy.
So you need that downtime. You can't just study and expect it to all stay, because it won't. You have to give yourself a chance for those connections to be made.
That's so true. Yeah, that makes total sense.
So it's really cool to, we try to work on some of those things. We have short, very precise things that you can look at. We try to keep it to a short video that you can watch. Then we review with quizzes and code challenges, so you can retrieve that, because that helps you to learn.
Okay.
So everything we do, we try to do is the best that we can to help you to be able to learn better.
Wow. Yes, definitely.
So we take what we learn from different learning scientists who are out there. Barbara Oakley is a great one. But there are a lot of other ones that research how the brain works and how people learn and all of that stuff. So we try to incorporate that as well, and work with, just the data itself. We talk about big data. You hear about big data all the time. We have our own data, like where do our students, where are our students struggling? Where do they stop? Where do we have people dropping off? Why are they dropping off? Is it because of this code challenge being too hard? Is it because this video was not well explained? Where are we getting poor ratings? How can we go back and fix that? Those, all of that stuff. So we have all of this, our data ourselves, that we go back through and try to fix it and do better all the time. It's always encouraging each other to do better. Well, what can we do to be better for our students?
Wow.
And that's what you have to do for yourself too. What can you do to be better?
That's very true.
Better than I was yesterday. Whatever it is that you're trying to do. You don't have to be better than someone else. As Treehouse, is there someone that we're really competing against? Not necessarily. We're competing against ourselves. How can we be better? And that's really is our big focus here.
Definitely.
How can we be better than we were before?
Yes.
And that's what everybody should do. Whatever your goal is that you're working on, whether it's programming, whether it's fitness, whether it's whatever, you don't have to compete against anyone else.
Yes.
You compete with yourself. Just be a little bit better.
Wow, good point. Wow, that was a very detailed answer, and you gave a motivational speech. Oh man, you should have your own vlogging channel. But I totally agree, and I've actually noticed that because I've been subscribed to you guys for so long, and seeing just the videos and the quality improve over time, and I can attest to that. But I do agree with that too. I mean, your only competition is yourself, and that's the only way that you improve in life in general too. Wow. Well, thank you. That was a very detailed answer. So your final advice?
Final advice to people: don't stress over learning the language.
Okay.
Pick something, do it, make something, make a website, make an app, whatever. Make something, learn a language, do it. Then if you need to learn something else for something else, then learn that next thing. The next thing you learn will be easier. You're not hurting yourself too much by learning one language versus another.
Yes.
Or the job you get today might be a completely different language than the job you get next year. And that's fine. Things change. You have to be ready to continue to learn. Even your language is going to change. PHP has changed a lot in 20 years.
JavaScript will change.
Yeah, JavaScript has been a huge thing.
Frameworks, so many frameworks out now.
Yep. Lots of change going on. So you have to be prepared to always learn.
Yes.
Don't think it's going to stop. It's not. And that's one of the great things I love about programming is there's always something new to learn.
Definitely.
You can always keep learning.
I agree 100%. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. If you believe it or not, the battery died. You probably do believe it because I would do that. The battery died a second ago, so we decided to do seconds last one. But well, thank you so much, Alena, for meeting with me. I know you're very busy, and everyone here is working nonstop, so it's really cool to see that actually happen. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you could come visit us. It's really fun. It's been fun. It's been a fun day.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Long day, but very, very fun. Very beautiful. I came at the right time.
You did. It's been great this week. This week has been really awesome.
Yeah, wow, man, perfect timing. But okay, well, thank you so much. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.